Hello there guys and girls, my name is Ben, otherwise known as Extension 455, bringing you a game of free-for-all on bootleg. I'm not going to be talking about the game because it's a game of free-for-all and I highly doubt I'd post a game of free-for-all that I didn't win, and I wouldn't want people to really watch a game of free-for-all that I didn't win. So instead I'm going to talk about the most defining moment of my life. I believe that in everybody's lives there are moments that shape the person that they are. And you have many of these during your life. You know, a lot of people may not recognise or notice these events at all. And this event of mine I didn't notice for maybe 8 or 9 years after it happened. So what happened was, I'm 26 now, but when I was 13, just started high school, I skipped school with another guy, with one of my classmates. We weren't particularly good friends or anything like that. It just seemed like a good idea at the time, like most stupid things. So what happened was, we skipped school, were hiding out in the field, and this guy threw a brick through a car window, which was travelling 30 or 40 miles an hour. The brick went straight through the passenger side window and landed in the poor woman driver's lap. Thankfully she didn't crash or anything, so I mean that's one thing to be really eternally thankful for. But it was still a horrific thing to have done, especially by, you know, a couple of 13-year-old lads. The upshot of this was we were both arrested and taken to our local police station. Now, because we were children, the police had to contact our parents. Now, this guy's parents, when they came along, they were effing and blinding at the police, having a massive go at them for arresting their poor little son, and even though obviously he was quite clearly in the wrong, as was I. My parents took a very different viewpoint, a very different stance, which I shall go through in a moment. But what happened next was we were put in a cell for a few hours, and you know, then I was interviewed. So I had my dad sat in the interview room with me with a couple of police officers. At this point I'm probably more scared about what my dad's going to do when we leave the police station rather than what the police are going to do to me. But thankfully no charges were brought forward and I was free to go, and we had fish and chips that night, which was nice. But a few years later, my dad told me that the police were going to release me without charge straight away and not interview me because the women didn't want to press charges. But it was my dad that had asked the police to interview me, to sit me down, to terrify me, the 13-year-old version of me, and you know, scare me to the point where I wouldn't do anything so stupid again. So that's what they done. Whether the police would do that nowadays is another thing entirely. I mean, we lived in quite a small community, and it was a great thing that the police done that, because I then never done anything so stupid again in my life. I've done plenty of stupid things, but nothing as severe as that. So for me, that was probably the most defining moment of my life, and I didn't realise it until probably about 4 years ago. When I was about 22 years old, I found out that the guy that I'd skipped school with had spent most of his young adulthood in and out of jail. And when I found out about this, I kind of stepped back and was like, wow, you know, I was arrested with this guy the first time. Well, I don't know whether it was the first time he'd been arrested, but obviously it was the first and only time I ever had been. And I thought, wow, you know, if my parents had reacted like his parents, that could have been me. You know, I may not have learned the lesson that I did from being arrested, and I may have overlooked the experience entirely, and could have gone on to commit petty crimes like this guy had done, and spend most of my young adulthood in and out of jail. So I looked back at the whole thing and thought how lucky I was, and how what appeared to be such a horrible thing for a father to do to a son actually turned out to be one of the greatest things a parent could have done for their 13-year-old kid. And it's made me largely the person who I am today. You know, I now try and stop and think about the consequences of my actions. Although it's not easy to do, and you know, obviously I don't do it all the time, but you know, you try and think more, and you're trying to be more aware of what you're doing to avoid putting yourself in such a stupid situation in the future. So I hope that anybody who listens to this can apply it to their own life in some small part. Obviously maybe not the same situation or the same scenario, but look back and think of a defining moment for them, something they may not have realised before, and kind of really appreciate that moment in their life. And had this not have happened, I could have been set down a completely different path entirely, one that may not have been quite as enjoyable and as fruitful for me. So that's my little story. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I've got other moments which I've reflected upon and thought are defining moments in my life as well. So I shall be bringing you those in the future as well, so you guys can listen to and hopefully take advice or take something from it and maybe apply it to your own lives as well. So I hope you guys have enjoyed. I shall speak to you soon with another instalment of whatever this is, my defining moments or what have you. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Feel free to leave a comment of situations that you found yourself in, and that defined and shaped you. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I shall speak to you soon. So take care, guys. Bye.